Welcome back, awesome action toy fans and subscribers. When it rains, it pours. More Tau from JoyToy's Warhammer 40k line. Tau Empire, and this is Commander Shadowsun, who looks really good in the pictures. And we can see the figure in the actual box here, which I've taken the plastic cellophane off, but I haven't opened yet. Looks fantastic. Some big ass guns on his sort of under his arms there. On the back, see more pictures what he comes with. It also comes with a pistol, helmeted head, and then some poses with him there. I'm interested to see what the articulation is like. It looks like the hips could be really good, but some of the other poses we will have to see what it's like. But he does look really quite good. I just reviewed the Tau the other day. Link in the top right if you want to see that review if you've not seen it yet. Fantastic. If you're not done so already, please consider joining the Patreon, where you get opportunities to win prizes like this direct from JoyToy, who will ship to you if you win. Link in the top right for you if you want to click on that, or check out the video description below. Looks really good. I'm excited about this. Let me have a quick look inside before we set them up and get our initial look. It's one layer? Yeah, one layer. Looks big. Does look pretty cool. Bit like a Gundam, I guess, which someone commented on. Well, his hair is really long. And he's got a display stand I can see as well. Okay, let me set this up and let's get into this. So back in an instant. And here he is, jumping into battle. First impressions. And this is going to sound very praising of JoyToy. This is one of their finest in terms of articulation. But some of the paint apps seem to be not lacking, but not quite as much time spent as on the Fire Warriors. Are there any issues? Couple of minor issues, but really minor. But I think this is possibly my favourite JoyToy release, and that's after I said that about the Sorrow Expeditionary Forces, 9th Cavalry of the White Iron Legion, or whatever it was, figures, which I'll show in a minute as well. This is really superb. They've done a fantastic job, and it's really good. Okay, so it comes with the helmeted head, which I swapped around. That was really hard to take off, but I took it off, and then I had to hot water treat his unhelmeted head to fit it on. Now, I don't have gas at the moment, so I had to sort of use the hot water tap, then microwave that water in a bowl, and then put the head in that to swap the heads around. He also comes with alternative hands. These are not the same as the regular Tau hands, I will hasten to add. These are slightly bigger. So this is a right hand open for gripping, right hand fist, and a left hand fist. He comes with a flight stand, which you can see here, which was not on the back of the box, wasn't shown on the back of the box. And he comes with a pistol, which he's holding, and we'll have a close look at him now. So the flight stand just connects to just above the second hole up on his butt. The bottom hole is actually a screw hole. This is a bit difficult to get in. You have to go absolutely straight to get to fit. So you see a screw hole there, and the next hole up is for him. Pistol has a holster on his leg, which you can see here, but to get the pistol in and out is much easier to actually turn the leg, slot the pistol in, and repose after. So let's get him standing up nice and straight first of all. And that thing off his head just fell off, the antenna thingy, whatever it is, I've no idea. But that's just a push in, and you can glue it in if you wanted to, but I don't see the point of that. Okay, so let's get him standing up straight. I'll take his pistol out of his hand, and as I said, leg backwards, much easier to put the pistol in, otherwise things get in the way. Leg up again. And I'll talk about some of the minor issues I have with this. Now, there's some very good points, but some of these good points can cause bad things. If that makes any sense, you'll know in a second what I mean. So you can hear there are ratchets on some of these joints. Now, that is fantastic. It can hold these heavy parts nicely, so he can be posed without the weight of his parts making him fall over, which is fantastic. But it also causes a slight issue, and that slight issue is particularly with these big guns he has that plug into his backpack. Can he stand up for me? So if you look here, if I take one of these out, another issue is he's got ratchets on his feet, which means, and none of them are in a neutral position. He's either falling forwards or falling backwards. That's sort of half in, half out there. He will stand up. So we'll get a closer look at him in a second. So the issue with this is, this pin plugs into the backpack and is on a ratchet. This pin, although strong, is not particularly big. And you add this ratchet to the ratchet on the shoulder point, and sometimes you don't want to move it by the guns. It feels like this pin will be stressed too much, particularly on this side for my one. So I'd rather those ratchets weren't quite as strong. This side is okay, so there's a ratchet there. But this one here, I don't want to take this outwards. Oh, it just feels like so much stress on that pin. I'll actually move it from the actual shoulder part, because that pin just feels like it's not enjoying that stress is under. Right, let's push those down, and you can hear the difference. This one's much smoother. Now let's get a look at him. And then the paint apps I'm talking about, some of these recessed lines, that's okay, just feel like they're lacking. Like there's nothing in here. There's nothing on the inside, there's nothing in there. That could be darker. Compared to the, and round here could be darker, more lines inside. Compared to the Fire Warriors, it just feels like this was, I don't want to say rushed, but not so much time spent on him. I would like the pins on these guns that go into this backpack to be longer and metal, if I'm honest. I want less chance of snapping. Now, articulation is absolutely fantastic. I think they've nailed it, apart from really the ratchets on the ankles. Because if you're going to put ratchets on the ankles, you should really have a neutral position for them, not a I'm going to fall forwards or I'm going to fall backwards position. So that means you've got to do more of an action pose to make him stand up. Okay, so head is going to be better with the helmeted head than this unhelmeted head, purely because that long ponytail, and that's just popped off there, and his ear thing's popped off again. I'm not sure I can pop that head on again without heating it. Let me just quickly try, since I've done it already once. Oh no, it can this time. So head is small forwards, backwards. Can we see that? Let's get a better focus. Forwards, backwards, side to side, can turn. Okay, shoulders, start with the back. We've got these ratcheted ones here which the guns plug into. And these go that high. So over 90. Very, very cool. I'll take it out. Depending on where the gun's positioned, you should be able to turn them all the way round there. Then the gun itself, you can pivot from where the pin plugs in. You've got ratchet again going that way, and ratchet going to about 90 degrees on this way. Shoulders, now obviously his shoulders won't go all the way around because you've got those big things in the way, but otherwise they would go all the way around. To the side, he gets almost 90. So better than the Space Marine, even with these pauldrons on, which are not articulate. There's no bicep turn that I can see. In fact, his pauldron does have some movement. I'm telling a lie, there is some movement in there. Biceps, they are ratcheted on his hands again. Not as good as a Space Marine. He gets just under 90 on there. Hands, because of the sculpt, there's not much going on, but there's some movement in all directions. He's got trunk movement. Look at that from the top. That's really good. And it's not too loose. And then he's got waist as well. So together, he can get a lean down, he can get a lean back, he can get a side to side, and he can get a turn. Hips, not bad. forwards, goes out a little bit because the sculpt, backwards again and go out a little bit because the sculpt, but it's basically a full splits, which is really good. You can take him apart from the waist, quite easily, just a pop-in pin. He's got a double kneecap, but really chunky legs. So he's getting about 90 degrees on that. So not the best, but it will do. There is a thigh turn from the hip. Feet, there is no turn. There is a small forwards and a small upwards. There is a swivel as well, but there's no boot turn. But the issue with this is, because it's on a ratchet, I understand the reason why, because his weight. If it's not completely neutral, he can struggle to stand up in a nice natural pose. See, that is flat, and he wants to fall backwards because of the weight of the guns. So really, you want to pose him if you want him to stand up nicely. And his feet are good for posing. He says that, now he won't stand. Just the weight of those guns make it not so nice. Very, very cool. And this is just a part that came off his head. Now, if I swap his head over, if I can, there we go. See if I can put on his helmeted head. It was a tough one to take off, so I'm hoping I can put it on easily without resorting to hot water. I love the unhelmeted head, but I just think it looks better with the helmeted head. But it looks a bit too generic robot, or there we go, or Gundam, but it does look good. Now, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly pause this and then get him set up for doing the measurement, and then some comparisons and a family sort of action pose with the Fire Warrior. So I'll be back in an instant. So let's get an idea of his size. Got my trusty tape measure here in cm. Don't fall over. To the top of his head, he's about 13.5, 14. To the top of the thing, his backpack, he's around 16.5, approaching 17. So he is a big boy. Now, if I compare him to some other figures, so I use the Sorrow Expeditionary Forces, who is just a huge 1/18 scale figure, and you can see that he is almost the same size that the Sorrow Expeditionary Forces, see top right for the link, you want to see that review, is more chunky. However, the Shadowsun does have better articulation. Now, one thing on articulation I did fail to mention is he has a shoulder roll, so his arms, or two things I failed to mention, his arms can roll forwards and backwards. Let me just get a better focus on that. So his shoulder can come forwards and backwards. Also, he can go break his arm, and you can unplug the arm quite easily from the socket if you want. In fact, you could unplug that and plug in that if you wanted to. But that roll does make a difference. You see how his arm is coming across his body here with the gun, which is really, really good, because most 1/18 scale figures would struggle to do that. In fact, most action figures will struggle to do that if they don't have a shoulder roll. Just lean forwards a bit. If I compare him to a Space Marine, he's going to stand up for me now. Okay, I will use a Space Wolf. Let's just move the camera down slightly. There we go. With a big backpack, and you see that he falls over. He towers above the Space Wolf. In his suit here. He is considerably bigger. Much, much, much bigger. Very, very well done by JoyToy. Okay, now I'm going to quickly pause again, set him up with the fire team, and we get a nice sort of family shot of them together. And they are going to look so good together. I can't wait for the crisis suits to come out and get that nice Tau want to say display, but I've got nowhere to display them. That nice Tau display sort of going on. So back in an instant again. Oh well, now that looks phenomenal. They just look so good together. So you've got your 4 Fire Warriors and you got Tau Empire Commander Shadowsun together there. Looking very good. It might look better in the setup if he had his unhelmeted head. But that's really cool, and when the crisis suits come out, that's going to look even better. Great release. I might take back what I said. I think in terms of articulation, it's one of JoyToy's finest. In terms of my favourite JoyToy release ever, it's going to be in my top 5 for sure. Really good figure. And the great thing is, you could do it, you could take off those big sort of gun arms from the side, you could repaint it as something that's not even Warhammer 40k if you wanted to. It'd work as a robot or work as an exosuit for something else, work in multiple different universes. Great release. I really like this a lot. Again, please consider joining our Patreon, link in the video description if you didn't see it earlier when it was in the video. And please subscribe to this channel and smash that notification icon bell so when a new video is published you don't miss it. I'll see you in the next one. Stay happy, keep collecting. Bye bye.